the next couple of videos to come out on this channel are going to be a little bit overlapping. So for instance, you will see parts of me making my door and window in this video, and that's just a side effect of the way that I'm shooting this. I've got several projects going at once, and I'm shooting video of them all. I don't shoot chronologically, and because this wall has so many interconnected parts, it was necessary for me to show that. So I hope that's okay. You will see video for everything eventually, but they just have to wait and come out in their own time. So it's time for me to put up the house wrap, and the reason why I'm doing it now is because I finally finished the framing on this wall, and I wanted to wait until after I'd done that to put the house wrap up. I'm going to skip sheathing the outside for now, or actually I'm not going to do it at all, just to keep the weight down. So it'll be 2x4s, house wrap, and then I'll put the exterior siding right on top of that. Not the way you're supposed to do it, but because this wall is, it's basically under an awning of the van, and if it's really raining, I can always just shut the back door, right? So it's not that big a deal, and I'd rather worry about weight. So instead of buying a big thing of house wrap, because I'm doing such a teeny project, I went down to the lumber yard and I asked if I could take some of this wrap that they use to wrap the lumber, and the guys said yes, so I've taken this home, and this is what I'm going to use. Okay, so I've got the first sheet up there, and then I'm just going to bring another one going the other way, and so that way they overlap and I've got overkill. So I'm just patching over any small rips and then putting tape over the areas that I've stapled it to the framing, and hopefully this is just an extra layer of water protection. Well, it's getting dark, but I finally got the whole back of this house wrapped, and it's kind of glowing like a lantern, which is kind of cool. Okay, so I'm just gone inside now, and I'm going to try and staple down this house wrap on top of the top beam, but I'm not sure if I can get my stapler in there. I'll figure something out. So it occurred to me that I have lights right here, and I could have gotten a better shot that last shot. Sorry about that. But up here, what my solution is, I've just duct taped it. I know it's not great, but it's going to work just fine. The duct tape's not holding anything up. It's just pulling this over here. It's stapled on this side here. That's what's holding it up. And then this will just work fine for keeping it over here. It's never going to get wet because we're already under a roof. So the next step that I did was cut an X here in the window. I'll do the same thing for the door, but I'm going to wait to do that for tomorrow when it's not so late. But basically, I can just pull these in around here to the edges and then tape them down. Okay, here we go. I've basically cut those triangles down so they're no longer long and pokey, and taped and stapled them around the edges of the frame here. So you can see that I've just dismantled the bed here because I need to do the exact same thing that I did for the window for that giant gap in the middle there, which is the door. So just like that. Basically, I did all of that for this strip here and that little bit under the window. But it's still going to add that extra layer of protection there, and it's a good thing to have. Okay, here we are on the outside, and basically I've cleaned up the bottom here so that it no longer overhangs, and just taped it down onto the board there. I would love to have it overhang, but this is going to be, I'm not doing anything with this board here, so that's going to, basically the siding will go right here, so I need to end the tape so you don't see it. And then, yeah, just tucking things around, making sure the corners are good. I only have one more thing to do here, and that is to kind of flash out these corner edges on the window. Okay, so on the bottom two corners here, I've just added that flashing here. Not going to do it up here because I'm running really low on tape, and it's not going to matter up there. Never going to get water there anyway, because I've got that protecting it. So I've got some thick styrofoam insulation that will go in these two bits here that look sort of like a lantern, and then the rest is unfortunately not going to be insulated. The door is going to be here, and there's going to be a window in that corner, right? So most of it won't be, but it's something I'm going to have to live with. I got this big board of styrofoam insulation, and I'm just marking out the areas that I need to cut out to install it. Okay, so I've brought the foam board in here, and I'm wishing that I'd done this before I put up the vapor barrier here. Okay, so I've got this bottom portion in. This is a really, really messy thing to work with. I've got foam everywhere here, little bits of styrofoam. But it is a solid thing, and it's not like it can't fall down. Like if I were to use the type of insulation that I used up there, fiberglass or anything like that, with the moving of the vehicle, it would probably all end up down at the bottom in a clump, and you'd lose your insulation value. So I'm just trying to wedge this portion here into place and get it so that that hole there lines up with the bolt, and then hopefully the ones up here at the top will just sort of slide into place easily. Well, it took some doing, but the top portion of the foam is in, going right down to the bottom. This is going to be really well insulated. This is a full. This is like the width of a 2x4, so it's 3.5 inches of styrofoam, and it's solid in there. Like that took me a lot of pressing. It is great. There's a few gaps up at the top here on the side that I can fill in with spray foam, but other than that, it's a really good seal. The straw on my spray foam broke, so I've just been having to use it like it's a thing of whipped cream and apply it with my hands, which is not a pleasant job, but I've kind of got a messy thing going on here. Those gaps and cracks which were there have been filled in. It was especially important on this side. We'll let the camera adjust here to get spray foam in the top here, so I kind of had to do it that way. But it's all done here. I'm thinking I won't do a moisture barrier on this side because there's no point. There's really no point. Basically, this insulation, there's no way mold's going to grow on styrofoam. And there's the vapor barrier, it wouldn't really connect to anything. I'd have to notch it around the bed. Because I made this wall after I put the bed in, there's some issues like that. I don't think it's a big deal, so I'm not going to worry about it. This part here, I mean, there's so much ventilation in this area anyway, that it's not really the outside. The outside is really this door out here. For the record, I hate working with styrofoam. It's nasty. All the little particles get everywhere. So I've gone and done as much of a cleanup as I possibly can with the shop vac, but there are still little white particles everywhere that are terrible for the environment. Yeah, it's not something that I like using, but it is a good material for this, and all the pieces that I used of styrofoam in this build, I didn't buy them at the store. A lot of these ones here that I used throughout, like this stuff, this just came out of the van, so I recycled that. And then the stuff that I just put in behind here, this was some cast off that someone on Facebook was trying to get rid of because they were doing a house with it and they had some extra left over. So trying to use as many like reused, recycled materials as I can. And if that means using styrofoam, I guess that means using styrofoam. But I'm still going to keep going and try and get absolutely every last bit, if I can, picked up, especially the bigger bits. And yeah, it might take a while. So I was just doing a little bit of a test fitting here, and I'm very discouraged. Basically, I didn't think about something. And that is that this door up here interferes with the window and the door that I designed. And I don't know what to do about it. I'll show you what the problem is. So, I just fitted in the jamb for the window here to do some testing. Look at the angle of this. This can't really go any higher up, and this window will be able to come out that far. I can live with that for the window. I knew it wouldn't be able to open all the way because I was knowing that it would hit this. Cracking the window's fine. But the door, come out here. That won't be able to open. You won't be able to use that. The whole point of this door is that it can open. So, I pulled this bit in here to see if this situation is salvageable. And I don't know that it is. Basically, here's the thing. This door, bottom part here, fine. It's a Dutch door. This part can open. That's not a problem. The top bit can't open outwards because of this door here. Unless I want to really shorten the door, I could do that. The other option is for it to open in, which I think I can make it happen. I think that there's enough space here for it to open in when the bed is taken apart. So for the purposes of bringing in a motorcycle in here, which is really important to me, as you guys probably know by now, I keep mentioning it, that would work. But with the mattress, definitely not. So that means that I can't use this door to open up in the summer and have that nice breeze come through. Yeah, this is a really, really frustrating thing for me. So, I've got some thinking to do, whether or not this is salvageable. Yeah, like I said, I'm feeling really down about this. It's defeating. Putting all the effort into this wall, and then the entire design of it it's not viable. So that's, you know what, I'm not gonna let it keep me down for long. It really sucks to have all that effort go into nothing. But something that I have to learn from and move past, right? So I will figure something out, and I will let you guys know what I come up with. So I came up with a solution. It seems like it's going to be the best one in the circumstances, and that's just to cut down the door. I have to cut down the top portion of the door, and I think 3.5 inches is all I need to do it by. And then I can sort of add some framing into above the door to add more wall there. And then I'm also going to drop down the window so that it has more range to open, and so it doesn't look really strange being higher than the door. And hopefully that ends up working and looks good. It's going to be a lot of work to move the window down. I have to pull out the insulation because it's going to be a real pain, but I think that it's manageable, and it's just something that I just need to do it, get it over with, and move on, continue with the project. We're going to test if this beam is low enough by using this right angle. Let's put it like this. Alright, this is our door. Alright, so it just kind of scraped right there. But that's okay because it will actually be down about here. Okay, so that window opening has been dropped down, and those two top beams there are level. I'm just going to put a spacer in here so that there's basically there's no wiggle room in this beam. Maybe I'll put one above the window as well, and then I can re-insulate and put the house wrap back on. Okay, so this little spacer here is in, and I've finished reframing this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to put in the foam insulation up here in this gap, and then I'll do the house wrap. So the top portion of the wall is now insulated to match. So I finished adding the house wrap up here above the window and door. So we are now back on track. Everything has been fixed, and the door should function perfectly fine. Okay, so I've just done something here. I'm starting to add some sheathing to this side here because there's nothing to screw into. Basically, there's one stud here, and then the rest is just foam. So what I've done is I've screwed into the stud, and then I've put some nails here on an angle going into the stud. Okay, so I finished off putting up those boards on both sides here. So I should be good to start putting up the siding. I got these shiplap boards from my old roommate, and he had them just sort of sitting in his garage forever, and nothing was being done with them. I think they're really, really cool. So let's go up and take a look at them. They've basically got this gentle lip here, and then on the other side, kind of this slot that they sit into. And they're very old pieces of wood here. I think they're really beautiful. And I'm going to use them to clad the exterior wall. I've just cut out a piece of this siding board here, and it seems like it's going to fit really nicely. I've sanded it down to get rid of most of those paint flecks, but I think I'm going to stick with this old weathered look. That's something that only comes with age, and I think it's pretty beautiful. So I've got two boards up, and you can see that this one's quite a bit shorter. Basically, I measured it when I didn't realize that this panel here was sticking out. It was bowed, but it'll get covered with trim, so it's not a big deal. Basically what I'm doing is I'm putting some nails through here on the tongue part to attach it to the studs here, and then I'm putting in a screw here so that it goes all the way in here. These are subtle, you won't see them very much, and this one here is just purely with nails because I think you'll probably see some of that. So I'm just going to keep stacking my way up. This gap here is important because the boards contract and expand. Now this wood is really old, so there'll probably be less of that, but this still allows for some movement, especially in a moving vehicle as well. These boards are going to be shifting, so that just means that they're not going to crack or anything like that. So I've gone up by 5 boards, and this one here goes over the joint of these two side panels here. And basically this one wants to bow out, and this one wants to bow in. So I basically nailed this one so that it's holding this board back and level with the two of them. So with 7 boards, that brings us right to the bottom of the window. I just had to trim down the top board a little bit, but that brings us to this side finished. And the cycle begins on the other side. Since both sides are equal in height, seemed like a good time to do a progress update. I really like it. It looks like the old side of a barn or something like that. I think it's really cool. So I'm going to keep going and finish this off. Some of these boards come with a lot of paint on them, and I'm just having to scrape it off with the blunt chisel, just working my way from one side, slowly flaking the pieces off like that. So both the sides are finished, and it's looking really cool. I have one more board to do, and that's one long one that'll go all the way across the top there, but I need to cut it down so that it will actually fit. So I've cut the board to go up here at the top, and I'm just trying to do some test fittings here. It's pretty tricky to get it as high as I can. I want it to go right up to the very, very top of here if I can. Basically, I'm putting it up, moving the door down a little bit to see where the hinges hit it, and then trimming down those portions. So that was one really finicky piece of wood to get in place. It's the exact width, it fits around the openings, and I needed to do a lot of notching around the hinges, and that took a long time putting it up, taking it down, and it really needed to be hammered into place just to be fitted with friction. So it's dark. I will show you what it looks like in the morning. I will see you then. This is what it looks like in the daytime with that top board put in place.